there and welcome to Verdict 2016. I'm Tracy Shilshi and this is the show where we get you the latest from the poll-bound states. So let's start with the headlines. The Congress unit in Puducherry reports death threats to party Vice President Rahul Gandhi. Senior leaders Ahmed Patel, Anand Sharma and Rajiv Shukla meet Home Minister Rajnath Singh. The Election Commission transfers 6 senior police officers in Tamil Nadu. It's the second instance of a similar action by the poll panel in 1 week. And a focus on Tamil Nadu Chief Minister J. Jayalalitha's constituency RK Nagar, where residents claim civic facilities are nowhere near satisfactory. But first, Congress leaders including Ahmed Patel, Anand Sharma and Rajiv Shukla met Home Minister Rajnath Singh today after the party's Puducherry unit reported that it received death threats against Rahul Gandhi. An unsigned letter written in Tamil was received by former Union Minister V. Narayanasamy at his residence that said that the party vice president would be blown into pieces, and he also said that it will be holding the party workers responsible for the state of affairs in Puducherry. Rahul Gandhi is slated to address a public rally tomorrow in Puducherry's Karaikal area, where assembly elections will be held next week on the 16th of May. Now, while initial investigations have begun in Puducherry, Congress leaders at the centre have asked the Home Minister to beef up Rahul Gandhi's security tomorrow.
Home Minister has assured prompt action and also security to be enhanced so that every step is taken to ensure the safety of his person.
We'll keep an eye out on developments there. Meanwhile, in Kerala, Congress President Sonia Gandhi praised the development efforts of the UDF government in the state today. In an election rally in Thrissur, Sonia Gandhi said that the state must stand up and defend the values of Kerala against the BJP.
Today, Kerala's growth rate is faster than the national average of what the Modi government has achieved. Kerala has taken further its leadership in health and education. It has become the only state to achieve 100% enrollment in primary education. This has been possible because of the UDF government literacy program.
Meanwhile, CPM General Secretary Sitaram Yechury targeted both the Congress and the BJP at a campaign rally in Kerala yesterday. While he hit out at the NDA for distorting the social policy that's threatening minorities, he accused the Congress of inaction on the law and order front.
Addressing the CPM rally in the Nayatingra Assembly constituency in Thiruvananthapuram, Party General Secretary Sitaram Yechury targeted the Congress-led UDF. He blamed the alliance for the crumbling law and order machinery in the state.
Why the UDF government is not taking the action that it should be taking? Why is there slackness in this? That has to be properly inquired, whether it is the corruption to which this UDF government has fallen. Because of that, the action is not being taken. Whether it's protection of criminals, whether it is sheer inefficiency. All these three factors, corruption, protection of criminals and inefficiency. All these three factors, any one of them is sufficient to ensure that in future this sort of a UDF government will not continue in Kerala.
Yechury also claimed that the free trade agreement that former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh signed had hurt Kerala economy. He said Prime Minister Narendra Modi was following the same agreement with the European Union.
Our Prime Minister Narendra Modi is going to Europe to sign the free trade agreement with Europe. And if that is signed, not only traditional crops, but our agriculture, our dairy, everything will be ruined while we create avenues for maximization of profits for foreign capital. Our domestic producer and our people and our economy will be ruined.
Other leaders at the CPM rally alleged that the BJP was colluding with the Congress. The party also claimed a BJP conspiracy against the minorities, which it says poses serious threats to the country's secular fabric. Akhilesh Suman's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
And to give us an idea of what to expect in Kerala, of course, voting to take place on the 16th of May. We've got senior journalist S. Srinivasan joining us in studio. Great to have you here, sir. You know, talking about Kerala, bipolar contest that we've seen at least in the past 6 decades or so. Once again, it's a Congress-led UDF and the CPM-led LDF, at loggerheads here. What makes it interesting this time, or do you agree with that, that the fact that, they just about weeks back, days back, they were actually fighting together in West Bengal and they are back here again, but of course, as opponents?
Yeah, you have asked 2-3 questions.
Yes.
Very interesting the way the things are developing in Kerala. As you correctly said, it's been a bipolar contest so far. But there is an element of third, perhaps. It may not be so potent right now, but there is a third element now which BJP has come. And, it has been progressively doing well. In the parliamentary election, they could, score about 10%, vote share. And in the local election, they managed to increase it to 14%. And they have tied up with one of the largest backward community called the Erava community. And therefore, they are hopeful that they will be able to, if not, of course, their target would be to get some seats, but at least they would be able to increase their vote percentage.
They're in fact calling themselves a party that is to be reckoned with, a force, because they're claiming that without the help of them, the BJP, without the help of them, nobody can form a government there. That's what at least they're claiming.
It's an election time, all kinds of claims are made, but let's wait and see how it develops. But surely the elections have been made slightly more interesting because of this element. Otherwise, the two formations have been switching between among themselves every 5 years. That's how it was. The other interesting thing is there are two, I heard Sonia Gandhi speaking, and then after Yechuri, they seem to be again, taking two positions. Sonia Gandhi in her speech seemed to be suggesting that secularism is kind of under threat because of arrival of BJP, and therefore we are the one who are guardians of that. And I think this is an aim also to look at minority votes, which is very high there, about 46%. On the other hand, the Marxist leader Sitaram Yechury's team seem to be pointing out that economic distortion which Modi government may bring, that's the line he's taking. But what is more interesting is to see is that in Kerala, Congress and the left were together and they fought together, and here they are opposing each other. And it is interesting to see that Yechury is making this point and pointing out corruption and law and order situation as a reason for the thing in Kerala. Whereas in whereas in West Bengal, what has happened is, even if the left leadership, the top leadership and the Congress leadership, even if they haven't agreed, I think it was groundswell, the ground grassroots workers who seem to have made that thing happen there. That they should go together. Otherwise, they were kind of facing an extinction.
Perhaps, getting some seats. They're of course claiming a win there, but we'll have to wait and see. And just talking about the Congress and the left, since the previous elections, things have changed, at least in 2014, at least for the Congress, things changed drastically. And now we do know Arunachal is a state they've lost. Uttarakhand, we'll have to wait and see what eventually happens. Losing a grip on certain states. In fact, the left right now just has Tripura. How much of a big of a bargain, how much big of a battle is Kerala for both sides?
See, Kerala is important both for, Congress and it's important for Congress because after this parliamentary election 2014, they have had no win. So they must begin somewhere. So to show that there is some revival of Congress happening somewhere. Kerala could have been a good case, but unfortunately what is happening is, if you go by the alternate 5-year theory, this is time for the left party. For left, it is also very important because they are really reduced in parliament and they are done very badly in the last elections. And they need to have some revival happening. They are hoping that they would be able to get more seats in West Bengal, but Kerala is very crucial for them. So for both of them, it's a very crucial election.
Absolutely. And very quickly, since you did mention about the BJP, in Tamil Nadu, there is an indication that they will be getting at least 5% of the seats. I mean, at least that is what opinion makers are saying, looking at how their performance was, of course, in 2014. Similarly, in Kerala, they seem to be seeping through, we don't really know how much of a share would they get. But for once, we're going to be seeing them actually making some sort of an impact? And do you think that in itself is crucial as well?
See, for BJP, they have been making a lot of attempts to break into, Kerala. In Tamil Nadu, they had some assembly seats, 2 or 3 seats early. But this time to say that whether they will be able to make any dent, whether they'll be able to make any, gains, whether they'll be actually able to make entry into assembly, it's difficult to say. Because I think, personally, I think that in 2014, they managed to lead a coalition on their own, which was a remarkable thing. BJP led a coalition during the parliamentary election. But even in 2014, there was no wave, there was no Modi magic in Tamil Nadu at least. Yes. And currently, I think BJP, I personally feel, has squandered a lot of opportunities. And I won't agree that it'll be a real big thing if they're able to actually make any, win any seat. What they could be trying perhaps is at least to sustain the vote share they have. That's what I feel is in Tamil Nadu.
All right. We'll have to wait and see. Of course, 16th of May is when they go to voting. 19th is where counting is. Thank you so much, Mr. Srinivasan, for joining us, giving us an idea really of what to expect from the state. Meanwhile, staying with Kerala, here's a special focus on Calicut district, where the upcoming polls on the 16th of May will see a direct contest between the Left Democratic Front and the Congress-led UDF. In previous elections, the Left won most of the seats and are hoping for a whitewash this time around. Here's a special report.
Calicut in Kerala plays an important role in India's modern history. Portuguese explorer Vasco da Gama set foot in Calicut after the first direct sea voyage from Europe to Asia in the 15th century. Vasco da Gama's arrival changed the course of history, and India became the gateway to the world's greatest spice-growing region, and Calicut became the headquarters of the spice trade.
We study the suitability of various crops, varieties in different parts of the country. For example, perennial spices like nutmeg or cinnamon or black pepper, it was only in the southern region. And cardamom, that is chota ilaichi.
Close to 20 lakh voters will cast their votes in the 13 assembly seats in Calicut. Nearly 1,27,000 are young first-time voters. More than 95% voters are literate. In the upcoming assembly elections next month, the contest is a direct fight between the arch-rivals Left Democratic Front and Congress-led United Democratic Front. Currently, the left holds 9 seats out of the 13 assembly seats and are confident of doing well this time too.
Mountain area of Kozhikode district, there are rubber agriculturists. They have the less price, they had very, very distress. Then in mid place of the Calicut district, there are coconut trees.
The Congress claims that the development done by the Chandi government will ensure the party's victory in Calicut.
Chandi's ruling period is development period. The golden age of Kerala, UDF period, Chandi's period.
Locals believe that a lot needs to be done for the development of the district.
And the hike of the price, the consumable goods, that's the main issue now. And of course, the corruption. That is, you might have heard from everybody.
Yeah, unemployment is the major issue facing here in Kerala. The quality of the examination and education is gone very low.
The residents of Calicut are hopeful that regardless of which party rules the state, Calicut will get its due after these assembly elections. Ravindra Sharon's report for Rajya Sabha Television.
And with that, a quick break here. We'll be back with more in a bit. Stay with us.
Hello and welcome to India's World.
More balanced Asia, which is inclusive and which is not under the hegemonic domination of any single country.
So long as the American troops are there in Afghanistan, the relationship with Pakistan has to be maintained. Otherwise, those Americans can be sitting ducks as well.
There is a difference between the Obama presidency and the Bush presidency, and a lot of it is related to the personal vision of the two presidents, both domestic and foreign. So, therefore, yes, if Donald Trump becomes president, there will be changes.
Watch experts discuss the issue in India's World on Rajya Sabha Television.
Welcome back. Let's get you some news from Tamil Nadu. And in its latest order, the Election Commission transferred 6 senior police officers with immediate effect in the state. This is the second time that the Election Commission transferred senior administrators in the poll-bound state. Last week, the ruling AIADMK had raised strong objections to the EC's orders, calling it an action taken on behalf of false reports submitted by opposition parties. Ever since the notification for the May 16 assembly polls was issued on the 22nd of April, the EC has transferred 9 district collectors, 7 SPs, 5 deputy SPs and a district revenue officer, besides other lower level officers. And now for more on this, we've got a correspondent, Ravindra Shiran, joining us now from Trichy in Tamil Nadu. Ravindra, if you could give us an idea really on how seriously the Jayalalitha government is taking this, because the numbers itself are quite high compared to any other state.
This is a historical thing which is going on right now in the Tamil Nadu. This is for the first time when so huge number of officer has been transferred from one place to another. Election Commission has a lot of under duress that for the free and fair election, for the conduct of fair and fair election, the opposition parties are approaching the Election Commission every now and then. They have a list of bureaucrats and senior IPS officers who they are accusing of working under the duress and the pressure of the current government. They are saying that these bureaucrats are in hand with the Chief Minister and they are working as like a party cadre. These are the reasons that the Election Commission has to transfer. Even the opposition parties are saying they have still a lot of officers in their list which should be transferred if the Election Commission seriously wants to conduct a free and fair election. On the other side, the ruling party AIADMK is saying that the Election Commission is working under the pressure of BJP and the DMK. This is the trade which are the allegations which are trading between both the political parties. Moreover, as the election is approaching in the last leg of their campaigning, the leaders are the attacks has been more sharpened by the leaders. The DMK is accusing the AIADMK and the leader Chief Jayalalitha of her behavior insouciant which has shown during the floods. Yes. On the other side, the AIADMK Chief Jayalalitha is saying that the water crisis which is right now faced by the state is all given by the Karunanidhi and his party DMK when he was the Chief Minister, and the Kaveri dispute and the Kaveri agreement was signed with the Karnataka. This is the problem right now. Beside this, we talk of the BJP. The BJP is saying that both the Dravidian party who are coming from the Dravidian movement are failed to fulfill the dreams which were seen by Anna Durai and Periyar. So now all the 3 important players, including the DMDK and the PWF, they have the DMDK and the PWF alliance, including the TMC. They are attacking both the Dravidian parties for the freebies which they have promised. Even the senior bureaucrats, the former bureaucrats, the senior election officials are also saying that now this is the time when the freebies should be stopped, and the government, the central government should come up with a law that should make the political parties bound not to come up with false promises which can induce the voters and which can ultimately affect the voting process, mind of the voters.
Absolutely, absolutely. We'll leave it there for now, Ravindra. Thanks so much for getting us an update from the state. We are looking forward to that election, of course, that takes place on the 16th of May. A crucial one, definitely, for Jayalalitha and the DMK as well. Meanwhile, talking of the Chief Minister, the Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Jayalalitha contesting from RK Nagar constituency of Chennai, and she faces no less than 11 women rivals. But notwithstanding its VIP status, residents say that basic civic amenities are lacking in the VIP constituency. Here's a report.
Till 2015, the RK Nagar constituency was just one of the 234 constituencies in the state. It became a VIP seat that year when it sent Chief Minister J. Jayalalitha to the State Assembly in a by-poll. The seat was won originally in 2011 by P. Retrieval of the AIADMK, who defeated P.K. Sekhar Babu of the DMK by 31,255 votes. Retrieval vacated the seats for Jayalalitha after she was acquitted in the disproportionate assets case by the Karnataka High Court. But despite being a VIP area, voters have their share of problems.
इधर से क्या प्रॉब्लम तो इधर से कोडंगूर में एक कचरा का बहुत ज़्यादा हुआ जैसे पूरा पोल्यूशन का पूरा बास आ रहा है इधर से हाई सेकेंडरी स्कूल नहीं है कि अच्छा स्कूल नहीं है, सीबीएसई स्कूल कोई भी नहीं है। इधर से दूसरा तो बस स्टैंड अच्छा नहीं है।
रोड में देखना वो कुछ नहीं, वो पूरा खराब है, पानी मांग रहा है, चोरी कर रहा है, वो इधर ये ठीक नहीं बात कर रहा है। वो वोट डालेंगे कौन देखना है अम्मा अम्मा बात कर रहा है, उधर जाना के देखा नहीं।
This time, the DMK is fielding a young leader against the Chief Minister.
For past 15 years, there is no proper basic amenities like proper drinking water, drainage, like that stuff, proper road. And there is a flyover, Korkupeta flyover. It's still pending. And in 1996 to 2001 tenure, DMK government has allotted 30 lakhs of fund for it, and still it is pending.
The DMDK PWF alliance has fielded educationist Vasanthi Devi for the seat. Although it is her first foray into politics, she has a good track record of working tirelessly for the rights of children and women.
Generic problems that the poor face anywhere in the country, particularly in Tamil Nadu, these are major ones that people face, like very poor quality of education, complete joblessness. Students, there have been only 2 persons who managed to get into medical colleges from this whole constituency. There are some engineers, but there are no jobs. So joblessness is a major problem.
Among the main problems that residents cite is the poor municipal infrastructure that includes clogged storm water drains, poor underground drainage system and the lack of playground for children. Vendors also complain of the absence of a proper market. This is Akhilesh Suman's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
And before we end this bulletin, in our special report from Tamil Nadu, a look at now the hopes and demands of the fishermen of the state who say that they are being ignored by the Tamil Nadu government.
Battling treacherous waves in the sea for fishermen earning a livelihood is a life-threatening battle. Matter of fact and business-like while auctioning their catch, they are quite frank and don't hold back when it comes to expressing their demands from political parties during elections.
फिशरमैन कम्युनिटी का इधर बहुत प्रॉब्लम है, लेकिन इलेक्शन टाइम में आदमी लोग वो लीडर लोग बोलेगा हम लोग ऐसा करेगा ये करेगा वो करेगा बोलेगा, लेकिन इलेक्शन के बाद में कुछ नहीं करेगा, ऐसा इधर होता है.
தொழில் இல்லாதனால தான் எங்களுக்கு பிரச்சனை, வேற என்ன பிரச்சனை எங்களுக்கு? போட்டு போவையிலனா எங்களுக்கு பிரச்சனை கஷ்டம் தான். மாதிரி நாங்க மீன் போட்டு தான் எங்களுக்கு வியாபாரம் பண்ணி தான் நாங்க பொழைக்க முடியும்.
In Kanyakumari, fishermen complain about the unfulfilled promises of the AIADMK. They were promised bigger boats, fishing nets and subsidies, but nothing came of it. Neither did the government fulfill their demands for proper security, speedboats, aerial surveillance during bad weather and emergencies. There is no provision of any compensation to fishermen who die in the sea.
पहला बोला ये बोट 5 आदमी को ये बड़ा बोट देगा, सब्सिडी में देगा बोला, नहीं दिया.
वो 40 किलोमीटर 50 किलोमीटर का दूर जा रहा है, वो लोग को एक आदमी हवा ज़्यादा होके बोट डूब गया तो वो नहीं मिलेगा, बाड़ी भी नहीं मिलेगा, बाड़ी नहीं मिलेगा तो वो गवर्नमेंट पैसा नहीं देगा. तो
Along the state's coast, a 45-day annual ban is in force until May 29th on deep-sea fishing. This cessation of fishing activity is intended to help fish breeding, conserve marine ecology. During the 45-day period, fishermen across Tamil Nadu are paid 2,000 rupees each as assistance. The fishermen want it to be increased to 5,000 rupees.
Government also giving some aids, but very difficult to catch a fish and marketing. Here poor people here. Government only give houses only, not compensation.
தராரோ தரலையோ அது யாருக்கு தான் தெரியும். அம்மாவும் தரல, மோடியும் தரல, யாருமே தரல. ஏழைங்க ரொம்ப அவதிப்படுத்துங்க.
Battling the dangers from the sea on one side and the prospect of falling incomes on the other side, the fishermen in Tamil Nadu are looking for answers from the government. Will the upcoming elections make a difference is the big question. Sanjay Kumar's report for Rajya Sabha TV.